the 3/4 cape or skirt tutorial. What you will need for this tutorial are 1. Some scrap paper, preferably something like newspaper or just something really large that can be disposed of for later or saved, really depends on what you want. You're going to need a straight edge, such as a ruler of your choice. You're going to need marking utensils, such as a marker for marking your pattern paper. You're also going to need something to mark your fabric, and there are various types of materials that you can use, such as pencil or China marker, which is what I use, and they come in black and white and also a bunch of other colors. Or I know people use colored pencils and chalk, or you can actually buy a marking tool from the fabric store just for marking fabric. But really anything that doesn't stain and can be washed out later from your fabric can be used. You're also going to need measuring tape and some scissors. And of course you're going to need a sewing machine, and I hope you guys know what a sewing machine looks like, because I'm not going to go bust one out and show it to you. But if you don't have a sewing machine, you can most definitely hand sew this cape or skirt, because it really involves 1 straight line, 1 to 3 straight lines, and then hemming, which you can all do by hand. And then of course a fabric of your choice. I can't really say I could recommend any fabrics for you guys to use, because this is really for cosplay purposes, so you want to pick a fabric that you like, that is comfortable, matches the correct color of your character, and it's more or less based on preference. But if you're just making a cape or a skirt from this tutorial, then I would recommend things that are very light. Cotton is always a good choice. Satin is, if you enjoy shiny things like I do. Just very light fabrics, because these things are for something flowy, because it's a skirt or a cape. But really it's all just up to you. And of course don't forget to buy thread in the same color, or however way you want to do it. And now let's get to some drafting. And because we're drafting a pattern, it's going to involve some math. And I apologize if this is crooked. The camera is literally in front of me, and I'm trying to write as straight as possible now I'm knocking it over. Okay, so what we need for this tutorial is basically 2 measurements, and you're going to find a 3rd one. You're going to need your neckline measurement, or your hip measurement, you're going to need the length of your skirt or cape, and then you're going to need to find a radius. What I mean by the radius is this. As you're drafting this, let's pretend this is going to be your sheet of paper that you're drafting your pattern on. What we're essentially doing is we're drawing 2 lines on it. They're both curved. So this top line is going to be the circumference, which is your neckline or hip measurement. And this is where the cape is going to drape on you. There's something beeping. And what we're trying to find is this line, which is your radius. And the way you find the radius is through some basic math. C equals 2 pi r. This is the formula for finding a circumference. The circumference is your neckline, and you divide it by 2 pi. Pi is of course 3.14, and that will give you r. And r will not be a whole number, but I would recommend that you round down, because having a smaller measurement for r would mean this line is shorter. So you would actually cut less into your fabric than you intend, and this is good because you're going to need a hemline, and also because if it's too small, you can always cut it to make it bigger. But if you've already cut it too big because you rounded up, there's really no way on, you know, fixing that unless you wanted to add more fabric on there, but it would create an unnecessary hemline, and that would not look pretty. So you want to round down for r, and then it should give you a good length for a, I just forgot the word, seam allowance. It will give you a seam allowance, which is always necessary when you're sewing because you have to hem it so it looks nice and clean. And what we do is you take your paper after you found your R. You take a piece of paper for your pattern, and what you do is this: you pick a side, or you pick a corner. I'm gonna pick this one. You pick a corner and you basically fold it. You fold it, and after you pick the corner, you do not want to do something like this. No, you can't do that. This is your corner, so you fold it this way. You fold it again, not this. That is not good. This way. I would recommend folding this at least 3 times, but because this paper is already so small, I can't. But I recommend folding it 3 times where you don't have to actually draw a curve in your paper, but just a straight line. And the more you fold, the smaller the line and the more circular it will be, and you'll understand what this means later. But after you found your radius, what you do is from the corner, this corner that you picked, you take your straight edge. You take your straight edge and you measure down to the R. And this is going to be an imaginary R, okay? You measure R on both sides of your little fabric, and I don't think you can see this, but then you just draw a big line right here. This is R, and I really doubt you can see that now, but that is R. And what you do is you take the length of your skirt and you start 0 from this line that you've just drawn. You start 0 from that line, and you measure however long you want your cape or skirt to be. And you have to measure it on both sides, just so it can be completely accurate. You measure it on both sides, and what you do is you just connect the dots. So you made 2 lines like that. And then what you do is you take your scissors and you take it and you cut off this edge. You don't need this anymore. And then you cut off this bottom line. And what I meant earlier by if you wanted a more correct measurement is because, look at this. It makes a very blunt line here in the middle. And of course you can just really just go back and smooth it out like this. But if you wanted a more accurate measurement for doing this, then just fold it a lot more times. See, if you fold it smaller, then it'll be a smaller line, and it won't be so super straight like that when it comes out. And there you go, you have 1/4 of your pattern. Okay, what you do with this 1/4 of the pattern is you're going to need to cut it out on your fabric. And let's pretend this is a fabric. And I know fabric does not come in nice large squares. They generally come in a long rectangular piece. And what you do is you take it and you will cut this piece out 3 times. 3 times. Because you need 3/4. It's for a 3/4 cape skirt tutorial. It is, you're going to need 3. And if you are a very lucky duck and happen to find a giant piece like this, or if your skirt or cape is just very small and your fabric can allow it, what you do is you take it, you fold it once over, and you fold it again to make a square, a small square. And you just basically, you line it up like this and you cut it. And I will actually just cut this. Sorry, this is like cardboard and it's very hard. And you just cut it off. Oh, that's difficult. Okay, and then you'll have this. Please excuse my horrible cutting skills. You'll have a big donut, more or less. And if you did it this way, what you do is, you see these lines that you've made? I don't know if you can see it. There's one here and there's another one right here. What you do is you cut it off. You cut off a corner, or like 1/4 piece. And what you can do with this is you can use it to make a neckline, like a collar, or just save it for something else. And generally you'll have a cape, and this is cardstock, so it's not very pretty, but you'll have a cape just like this. And this should be your neckline, and this is how long it is. And if you did it this way, then this big donut way, all you have to do is hem this, hem these 2 lines, and of course hem this giant outside circle, and you'll have a cape. If you did the smaller way, you'll end up with 3 pieces of that, you'll end up with 3 pieces of this 1/4 quarter. And what you need to do is, sew this together and sew this together, and then hem this little circle, and then hem the big circle, hem this big circle, and then you will have a cape very much like the first one. And that is how you do a 3/4 quarter skirt or cape tutorial. And if you made it a skirt, of course, after you've done this, sorry, it doesn't all match up. After you do this, what you do is you just sew this last side up together instead of actually hemming it. Hemming both sides. You just sew them together and it will make a 3/4 quarter skirt. And I would like to say example of this skirt would probably be like the 70s skirts where they flare out a little, but it's not a complete circle when you spin. And it takes much less fabric, but it still gives the idea of a full skirt. And of course, if you made the skirt super long, it will become more like an A-line dress. It will look more like an A-line dress than a full, than a full skirted dress. And that is a tutorial for a 3/4 quarter cape or skirt. I hope this is helpful to whoever needed it. And thank you for watching.